Welcome back everybody to another one of my aviation history videos, and this is episode 39 in my history on the RCAF. Now today we're going to be looking at 436 Squadron, which was formed in World War II as a transport unit and has been in almost continuous operation since its formation. Now before we get too far into this video, as always, my name is Sean and this is Sean's Aviation. 436 Squadron was formed on August 20th of 1944 as a transport unit at Gujarat, India, the first unit to be formed in India, beating 435 Squadron by 2 months. Due to the way units were organized in the CBI, China-Burma-India Theater, the unit was not assigned a squadron code, but flew Dakotas with the first aircraft arriving in October. Similar to 435 Squadron, with the video for that linked above, 436 flew its first mission before it was deemed fully operational when it participated in the emergency evacuation of 177 Squadron on December 10th. On January 13th, the unit relocated to, and I'm going to apologize in advance for the pronunciation of some of these words, Kanglatongbi, India, and its first official mission took place on January 15th, 1945, when 7 Dakotas airlifted 59 tons of supplies for 33 Corps. The unit gained a reputation as a hotshot unit and carried more tonnage than any other Dakota unit in the area. Part of this was the crews electing to eat dry rations rather than wasting time cooking, as well as the efficiency in the maintenance department to ensure turnaround times were as fast as possible. The unit was known for its unofficial name, Canucks Unlimited, which was painted down the side of their aircraft. On March 17th, the unit relocated to Manubuin, Burma, further south than its previous base and keeping it closer to the front lines. On May 15th, the unit again moved to Ramri Island, just 100 kilometers further south. During the move, one of the more famous moments in the unit's history took place. C-47 KN-210, flown by Flight Lieutenant Dennison, was carrying a load of bricks, and due to a miscalculation, the aircraft was overweight and it was difficult to maintain altitude. It was decided that they would need to lighten the load, and some of the blocks or bricks would have to be thrown overboard. Now, about this time, a Japanese seaplane was spotted, and it was decided to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. As the aircraft made multiple passes, LAC Adams threw bricks out of the rear door, attempting to damage the aircraft. Now, it is not known if any damage was done to the Japanese aircraft, but the Dakota was able to make it back to base safely. With the end of hostilities, the unit was selected to relocate back to England, and when 48 Squadron arrived in theater, 436 swapped aircraft and flew their now new Dakotas back to England. The unit carried members of the 529th Bomber Squadron, an American unit, back to England as the unit was downsized. All of 436's aircraft were on site in England by August 29th, and they were stationed at Down Ampney. While here, following standard practice in the European theater, the unit was assigned the squadron code ODN, which might sound weird, but transport units were assigned 3-letter codes versus 2-letter codes for most combat units. Now, on April 3rd, 1946, the unit relocated to Odesham. They flew various missions throughout Europe, ferrying high-ranking officials, mail, general cargo, as well as evacuating former POWs back to England. Now, the first official mission in Europe was flown on September 9th when 3 aircraft flew to Paris, and the final mission flown was on June 16th of 1946 when 1 aircraft flew 3 passengers and 1.5 tons of cargo from Brussels to Odeham. The unit was disbanded on June 22nd of 1946. During World War II, in the CBI theater, the unit flew 31,798 operational hours over to 9,806 sorties. It carried 29,000 tons of supplies and 15,000 troops. The unit lost 3 aircraft, with 4 aircrew killed. While in England, the unit flew 6,983 operational hours, but there is no record of total sorties. It carried 296.9 tons of mail, 1,486 tons of freight, 13,063 passengers, as well as 3,156 casualties. 436 was stood back up on April 1st of 1953 at RCAF station Dorval as a transport unit. There are many references online that say it was 1949, but I was able to find a copy of the unit's official record, and it clearly states 1953. It received their first aircraft, 2 Fairchild C-119 flying boxcars that same month, and immediately started operational flying, with the first mission on April 13th. The unit carried out many missions throughout Canada, especially in the Arctic regions, as well as the US, Europe, and around the world. In January of 1955, it helped move No. 1 Fighter Wing from its original base in North Luffenham, England, to their new base at Marville, France. In June that same year, with a general rail strike in England, it created an air bridge to get supplies to units in Europe. On July 1st of 1956, the unit officially moved to CFB Downsview, northeast of Toronto. Now, between November of 1956 and January of 1957, it helped airlift members of the UN Emergency Force from Italy to Egypt during the Suez Canal crisis. In August of 1964, the unit relocated to RCAF Station Uplands, and the following year, in 1965, the unit upgraded to the newer C-130E. In February of 1968, the unit was absorbed into the newly merged Canadian Forces. And on August 11th of 1971, the unit moved to CFB Trenton, where it is still located today. 436 Squadron has been involved in every RCAF heavy airlift mission since its reformation in the immediate post-war years. Now, after it moved to Trenton in 1971, the unit was re-equipped with the C-130H, and then later on the C-130J, which is the aircraft it currently flies. Now, in recent years, it has been involved in missions such as Desert Storm, the operation in Kosovo, the operation in Iraq, the operation in Syria, as well as even recently into operations in Iraq, supporting the Canadian training mission there. Now, being one of the only tactical airlift C-130 units that is around, it gets a lot of use, and I don't foresee it going anywhere anytime soon. Now, in the future, time will tell what our next transport aircraft might be, and I believe 436 Squadron will be around to see that next generation of transport. Now, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next time.